On my 30th birthday, Julian didn't come home. It was the first night he'd ever stayed out, and on that particular day I couldn't help but be angry. I called him, no answer at first, then the phone went straight to voicemail. A woman's intuition is a beast. It swallowed me whole. I screamed until I was hoarse, cried until I was hollow, and sat on the couch until dawn. He walked in at noon the next day. I no longer had the strength to rush over and demand answers. My empty eyes just tracked his steps. He stopped at the balcony door, shrugged off his jacket, and sat in the wicker chair. "Lena, we need to talk." He twisted the wedding band on his ring finger. "I don't want to lie to you. You're great, but these 3 years have shown me we're not right for each other. So I think—" He slipped the ring off and set it on the coffee table with a soft clink. "You want a divorce?" My throat was so dry the voice didn't sound like mine. He nodded. "You've fallen for someone else?" "Yes. When it's laid out like that, what else can I say but okay?" Julian looked down, refusing to meet my eyes. He rubbed the finger that had worn the ring as if trying to erase the pale ghost of it. "I know this is hard to accept, but once I've decided something, no one can change it. If it helps, yell at me, hit me, whatever you need." A laugh crawled out of my throat, uglier than a sob. He finally lifted his gaze, and the dislike in it was bare, unhidden. "What are you laughing at?" Back when he used to tag after me like a puppy, he'd said almost the same thing. "I've made up my mind, it's you. If you say no, I'll stay single forever." Once Julian decides, no one can change it. Strictly speaking, we weren't yet at the 3-year mark. The shelf life of his decisions was shorter than milk. I didn't answer. I simply stared at him for a full minute. That face was still near perfect, flawless. Because of it, I'd first pushed him away, and because of it, I'd later surrendered. Now, looking at him turned my stomach. He frowned, turned his head, loosened his tie. His voice carried a plea. "I can give you more money, anything you want, just say yes to the divorce." "I agree." He shot to his feet, eyes wide. "Really?" "Lena, you mean it." His hands shook with excitement as he scooped up the phone from the wicker seat. "I'll send you the PDF settlement. Look it over, and if it's fine, I'll have Derek print the final copies." Even the divorce settlement was already drafted. Clearly, someone had been waiting in the wings. The thought that only days ago he'd held me wanting. Disgust surged through me. I wanted to claw his face apart, but I didn't. I refused to go insane just because he dumped me. If I lost control, he'd think I couldn't bear to leave, that I was begging him to change his mind by throwing a tantrum. That was exactly how I felt. But I couldn't let him know. My hands hung at my sides, clenched into fists. I breathed deep to steady myself, yet my voice still trembled. "Leo stays with me. The second ring house is mine. Convert everything else to cash 20 million. When Julian and I married, he was 29 and I was 28. To catch my best fertile window, we hadn't used protection. Wedding in January, baby born on double 12. Voss family celebrated 2 happy events in 1 year. His parents were over the moon. They moved in to help, and as soon as spring arrived, they took Leo to the Voss estate. "Fine," he agreed without hesitation. "I'll have Derek deliver the papers." He picked up his jacket and brushed past me. The slam of the door snapped me back to reality. What kind of woman can make him walk away from his own son without even the pretense of a fight? I gave a bitter laugh and dialed my phone. "House manager, come early this afternoon. Pack every garment in my dressing room and every book in my study. Oh, and don't prepare dinner for me." Yesterday, I'd given her a day and a half off, planning to spend my birthday alone with Julian. I cooked a huge feast. In the end, the stray dogs ate it all. That evening, I returned to my old apartment north of the river. It was immaculate, no dust anywhere. After I married, Mom still sent the house manager to air the place regularly, so it never felt abandoned. I poured myself a glass of Cabernet and stood at the floor-to-ceiling window, watching the city lights flicker, wondering, if I hadn't come back from overseas, would I never have met Julian, never have to face divorce just when I'd finally let myself love him? After earning my PhD, I'd flown home to Mom, slid smoothly into Orion, earned a fat paycheck, and enjoyed every perk. But no boyfriend, so my parents worried themselves sick. They pestered every acquaintance to set me up. Julian was my 5th blind date. I'd gone ready to endure another freak or bragger, yet he was neither ugly nor pompous. His degree matched mine. His face matched every daydream I'd never admit aloud. When we parted, he said, "Let's swap numbers. Talking to you feels easy, like we've met before." Back home, I still declined his WhatsApp request. Questions circled in my head. A guy that handsome, no girlfriend? Top credentials, killer looks, smooth talk, and single? He should have been snapped up unless something was broken. Maybe that's why he was reduced to blind dates. I wasn't like him. My looks were ordinary, my tongue clumsy, and I'd scared off the few suitors I'd had, hence the leftover label. A few days later, Julian appeared beneath my building, blunt and certain. Lena, we're both adults, so I'll be straight. After that dinner, I knew it's you. I don't want to miss this. I couldn't make up my mind. My thoughts were still wrestling, and I hadn't given him a clear answer. So he came to my apartment every single day, trailing behind me all the way to the lobby of Intellicon. Half a year passed like that, and then we got married. He understood romance, knew how to cherish me. Every angle of the relationship satisfied me. I asked why someone so perfect still needed a matchmaker. Because I had to meet you, he said. I leaned on him more and more, loved him deeper and deeper, convinced I'd stepped into the happiest chapter of my life right up to the moment he dumped an ice bucket over my head without warning. I lost count of the glasses I downed. I only remember the room tilting when I stood. Yet I slept like the dead that night, dreams nowhere in sight. Julian moved fast. The next morning his assistant found me. Mrs. Voss, the CEO, asked me to deliver this. I tore open the manila envelope, skimmed the pages, signed without hesitation. Tell him 8 a.m. sharp, City Hall Marriage Divorce Bureau. I deliberately wore my scarlet wrap dress and a light coat of makeup. A wedding is a celebration, a divorce can be too. Crying oceans for someone who stopped loving you is just stupid. Julian arrived before me. Always punctual, always his style. He stared, mouth half open. You're actually on time. I'm celebrating, of course I'm punctual. His steps faltered. I didn't wait for him. I walked straight into the hall. I never looked at him again, not until the clerk handed me the certificate. That afternoon I drove to the Voss estate and picked up Leo. My in-laws assumed I simply missed their grandson. They didn't ask, so I didn't explain. It was their son's decision. Let Julian do the talking. A week later, his parents finally learned we were divorced. They rushed to the penthouse to see their grandchild, but the house manager told them I'd moved out. Only then did Julian confess. The next second my own parents knew. They stormed into my new place demanding answers. Before I could finish, my ex-in-laws arrived with Julian in tow. The moment Eleanor stepped inside, she grabbed my hand, voice breaking. Lena, whatever Julian did, tell Dad and me we'll straighten him out. Don't end the marriage. Leo's almost 2. You young people only think of yourselves. What about the child? Every couple bickers. Be magnanimous. Divorce fixes nothing. Exactly, Lena. Children sense everything. We have to set a good example. Richard echoed. I gently pulled my hand free, smiling. Of course. If parents set a rotten example, the rot spreads. Straightening that later is almost impossible. Their spines stiffened. Color drained from their faces. I locked my eyes on Julian. Did you bother telling them why we're divorced? I did. He muttered. Eleanor cut in faster. Julian said you two aren't compatible. That's no reason you kids are just impulsive. Did he mention the new girlfriend? 4 elders pivoted toward Julian in unison. Is that true? He turned his face away and chose silence. From the moment you walked in, every word has been aimed at me. May I ask, before you learn the facts, you assumed the daughter-in-law was guilty. Is that how age earns respect? If one of you had an affair, would you expect your spouse to ignore it because you're older? And if he insisted on divorce, what then? My mother collapsed onto the sofa, wiping tears, berating herself. I pushed you to marry. If I hadn't, you wouldn't suffer like this. Who claimed the Voss family had sterling values? That Julian was a gentleman. If I'd known he was two-faced, I'd never have let my daughter marry him, even if every other man on earth dropped dead. My quiet father was shaking with rage. Eleanor and Richard finally cracked. Richard rolled up his sleeve and slapped Julian hard. Disgrace, I'll beat you dead. Don't want her? Then don't marry. Now the whole city laughs at the Voss name. Eleanor's small fists drummed his shoulders. Julian roared, Stop killing me, won't change a thing. Lena and I are finished. We never had feelings. We married because you decided we matched. If Brielle hadn't come back, I could have faked it forever. But she did come back, the woman I love. If you won't accept her, we'll vanish. I'll abandon the airship if I must. Smack Richard's palm landed again. The family shouting blurred into static. No feelings, a marriage of convenience. The thorns of those words buried in my heart, twisting until I trembled. I had to admire his acting. How do you share a bed with someone you don't love and never leave a trace? And I, complete idiot, fell for the performance, gave him everything, believed every line. I stepped in front of Julian. The room fell silent. I swung with everything I had. Left then right across his face. His shredded mask of civility lay in pieces. Eleanor moved to stop me. Let her, Julian barked. The harder she hits, the less I owe. When my arms gave out, I sank to the floor. He glowered, teeth clenched. Eleanor and Richard couldn't bear to look. They headed for the stairs to see Leo. I barred the way. Where's grandparents? Why not? Julian shouted. You want to hold a grandchild? Wait a month, Briel's due. Like another bomb detonating over my head. I stood, grabbed the broom, and showed my in-laws the door. They towed Julian out in a fluster. The latch clicked and the world fell silent. That night, I locked myself in the bathroom and scrubbed myself raw, losing count of how many times. Do the math. The woman called Briel had been wedged between Julian and me for almost a year. He had lied to me, disguised every anomaly. Only now did the pieces snap into place. He rarely rose early, yet back then he was up by 5, skipping breakfast at home. Exercise, he claimed then, straight to the office, where pastries and coffee waited. He hated sour flavors, yet asked the house manager to pack spicy pulled chicken salad for lunch. The man who once sprinted home at 5 began strolling in later and later. He confessed only because her belly was rounding past concealment. She wanted legitimacy. The child needed a birth certificate. Nothing had been unhinted, only I'd been too stupid to see. I chopped off my hair, determined to start fresh. 3 years is short on a calendar. The devastation fell endless. After work, my neck flared again. I decided to swing by Riverdale for their homemade herbal patches. I veered in, rear-ending the car ahead. Out stepped a familiar figure, Julian's driver, Raymond. Avery? Raymond? You switched jobs? We gaped at each other. This wasn't Julian's Range Rover. He hadn't expected me to be the one crashing into him. No, the boss bought it for your Lena? The door swung open. A pregnant woman stepped out, wrapped in designer maternity silk, my age or a breath younger. She gripped the newest iPhone and raked me with a lofty once dash over. So Julian had bought her the car. I'm Lena. Just a scratch, I'll cover everything. Cover? A scratch? Who knows what internal damage you've done? More important, you terrified me. I'm pregnant. If anything happens to my baby, could you ever pay for that? I snapped photos and dialed the traffic police. Taylor, don't be angry. The wind's cold. Wait in the car. Let me handle this. You can't afford to catch a chill. A servant daring to lecture me? Briel's eyes bulged. She slapped Raymond's driving glasses to the pavement. You're in cahoots with this bitch, aren't you? How else would she know it's my car? You tipped her off so she can murder me. Just wait, Julian will have you all stamping license plates in prison. Raymond was no servant. He doubled as Julian's personal valet. Briel's palm left his cheek crimson. His eyes went bloodshot with rage. I retrieved the glasses and handed them back. The cops arrived. Julian's car screeched curbside. What's going on? He reached us before the officer did, circling Briel, clutching her, scanning for injuries. What hurts? Is the baby okay? Raymond, what are you waiting for? Get her to the hospital. She's in shock. Briel's mouth twisted. She burst into wails. They're ganging up on me. She tried to kill us. I'm so scared. Julian's stare turned blade sharp. Lena, murder's a felony. Even a straight student knows that. I laughed in sheer disgust. Birds of a feather, has anyone ever told you how perfect you two are for each other? He started to retort, but the approaching officer cut him off. Briel shrieked. My stomach, she's trying to kill me, officer, help. Briel sagged against Julian's shoulder, fingers knotted in his shirt. Quick, Raymond, open the door. They sped off, abandoning the fender bender. After the cops finished logging the scene, I left. I skipped the nearest hospital. Julian's crowd would be there, and I couldn't stomach another encounter. We could settle damages by phone. I'd been curious about Briel, but I'd never sought a meeting. Partly to spare myself the humiliation, partly because a confrontation wouldn't lure Julian back. Yet fate mocked me. The woman I swore I'd never face had materialized, courtesy of my own bumper. I circled the block and parked at a distant medical center. While registering, I heard Julian behind me. My spine turned to ice. Hide and you'll still collide, our new law of physics. Lena, tailing Briel to the hospital, what's your endgame? If you can't get over me, fine, but attacking a pregnant woman? That's low even for you. I stared as if he were the slowest kid in class. You own this hospital now? You're not that charming. I never wanted you in the first place. You badgered me until I caved, so spare me the can't get over you fantasy. Hurtful words are easy. Dishonest ones even easier. Julian's face darkened, voice iced over. Didn't want me, yet you married me? I shrugged and headed upstairs to orthopedics. Ask yourself the same. You never loved me either, yet you still put a ring on it. Honey, what are you looking at? Casey waddled from the ultrasound room, following Julian's glare. Lena again. See, I told you. She and Raymond plotted this. You dumped her, so now she wants me dead. Wah. Brielle tried to bury me, but science doesn't lie. Her exam came back perfect. The BMW spent a day at the body shop spotless. In the end, I wired $50,000 for a wrist spray and a Polish dot case closed dot to shave already slim odds of another collision. I switched to a bicycle commute. The office wasn't far. Pedaling gave me exercise and immunity from traffic snarls. Win-win. I never ran into Julian again. That Saturday I took Leo to the Riverside playground and bumped into Raymond. Julian had fired him after the parking lot incident. Raymond's wife was too sick to work. Their kid was 7 and he was the sole provider, so the axe landed squarely on my conscience. I pulled a few strings and got Raymond hired at my brother's company. Julian found out and parked himself outside my building, blocking my way. Brielle was right, he snarled. What exactly is going on between you and Raymond? The day I fired him, he walked straight into your firm. Don't insult me, admit you two planned this to hurt Brielle and my son. Julian and Brielle really are soulmates. Whatever she says becomes gospel, no thinking required. Exactly what you're imagining, I shot back. Go ahead, sue me. You think I won't? The elevator door slid shut. He screamed something hysterical behind them, but didn't follow. Days bled into weeks, and the bitterness I still carried from my marriage to Julian was slowly crowded out by new admirers. Arms full of flowers, smile on my face, I was nearly home when my phone rang. I assumed it was the delivery guy. Instead, the number I tried to erase rebuilt every broken memory. I didn't have to look to know it was Julian. I'd blocked him on WhatsApp and deleted him from my contacts, but I never barred the actual number, hadn't thought I'd need to. Who knew which gear slipped loose in his head? Lena, do you have time today? I'd like to see you. No time, no point. My thumb moved faster than my mouth. The text was gone before I could stop it. Lena, I'd like to see the kid. May I? I miss him. That message froze me. In the first months after the divorce, Leo kept asking, Mom, when is Dad coming back from his business trip? So I'd actually gone to Julian. Your son misses you. I told him you're overseas on a long project. Come see him when you can. Julian stood with arms folded, looking down at me, voice iced. Weren't you the one who barred my parents from seeing him that day? Now you beg me to visit. Could your game be more obvious? He was sure I was using Leo as bait to drag him away from Brielle. I swallowed the anger. I was furious that day. I was wrong, but you're Leo's father. You shouldn't be absent while he grows. Julian only sneered. I always underestimated you. Turns out you're quite the schemer. He climbed into his car and roared off. I watched the river of taillights and whispered, Leo, just pretend your dad is dead. For more than a year, Julian never visited, never asked. It was as if Leo were solely my child and had nothing to do with him. I considered waiting for the right moment to tell my boy his father had died, but the words never came. Today, seeing that he's the one asking to meet him, God help me, my nose stings because I know how happy Leo will be. After all, Julian is the boy's biological father, and Leo talks about Daddy constantly. I'm running out of lies to explain why he never shows. I have no right to refuse on my son's behalf. 3 o'clock this afternoon. I'll take him to the beach. Julian replied instantly. Okay. When Leo heard his dad was coming, he lit up, abandoning his toys so we could leave right away. I changed clothes, opened the door, and there was Julian, hand raised mid-knock. Leo catapulted into his arms. Daddy, you're finally home. I'm so happy. Julian lifted him and kissed his cheeks again and again. The whole drive, Leo chattered nonstop. Daddy, this trip was super long. You won't leave Mom and me for that long again, right? Never again, Julian said, looking at me. I turned my face to the window. Under the umbrella, I watched Julian fill Leo's bucket with sand. Whatever he whispered sent Leo trotting off to show his friends. Then Julian walked over to me, 2 iced drinks in hand, and sat down. Lena, I'm sorry. I stared lost. I was blind, fried in my own stupidity. I threw away the best wife a man could want because I thought true love had come back. Turns out, this is my punishment for betraying you. Brielle had been Julian's fiancée. They'd been one step from the altar. He brought her home to meet the parents, but Eleanor caught her smoking in the powder room, and that was that. That wasn't the only strike. Brielle also ordered the house manager to kneel and tie her sandals. The senior Vosses decided she lacked the breeding the family name required and vetoed the marriage outright. Furious, Brielle relocated, quickly latching onto a greasy Dante. Her spending outran his patience, he roughed her up. Nursing bruises and pride, she flew back to Riverdale and ran straight into Julian at the airport. Sparks reignited. After Brielle gave birth, Dante showed up. That's when Julian learned the baby girl wasn't his. She'd returned to town only to sit out her pregnancy in familiar surroundings, not to rekindle some fairy tale romance. Pregnant women lose their appetite for foreign food. Home was simply more convenient. Brielle hadn't spent 6 years pining. She wasn't wired for long devotion. The whole mess was Julian's own fault. A one-man delusion. Julian grabbed Dante's collar like a madman, accusing him of trying to steal Brielle and the child. The 250-pound Dante wheezed while he fished out Brielle's first trimester report, waving it lazily from his chair between coughs. Still, Julian refused to believe until the paternity test reduced him to a punchline. Brielle and the baby boarded Dante's private jet and lifted off, leaving Julian on the tarmac, hair whipping in the rotor wash, mind unspooling. He called her, raging, "I'll sue you for fraud, for stealing my heart and my money. I'll put you behind bars." "Go ahead." When word gets out that the mighty CEO of Intellicon is this gullible, will anyone still trust the junk your company peddles? If I'd married you, would your fortune have become mine? Your fossil parents would have guarded it like hawks. Did you really think I'd sentence myself to that prison? What I wanted was to watch you divorce, to watch you choke on regret. You chose your parents over me back then, remember? This was payback, darling. The instant the call beeped dead, Julian hurled the phone away and his legs buckled. Cameron. The ocean wind whipped my hair into chaos. Julian reached for me, I stepped back. Lena, I know nothing I say will ever sound true again, but I have to say it, I love you. The day I asked for the divorce, you were so calm it tore me apart. I told myself that calm meant you'd stop loving me, that whatever I did, you simply didn't care. That's why I spit out that garbage about us having no feelings, about staying together only for convenience. Lena, give me one more chance. I swear I'll be a good husband, a good father. His voice shook, eyes glassy, yet I couldn't find a flicker of honesty in them. I'm not stupid. A man who truly loves you doesn't dump you for an ex who resurfaced after years. A man who truly loves you can't bear to watch you cry. He just can't stomach Brielle's betrayal. He needs to pray back to her and say, see? I'm divorced, but I can get wife and kid back with one sentence. I smoothed the hair from my forehead and spoke evenly. Yet you never found 10 minutes to see your son. How do you explain that? He froze, clearly unprepared. I knew you'd take perfect care of him. Work was insane. I came home late every night. I was afraid I'd wake you both, so... Such a martyr, working holidays too, no wonder you're rich. Julian's shoulders snapped tight, color flooding his cheeks. After that day, he showed up every single afternoon toys for Leo one time. Snacks the next, sometimes groceries so he could tie my apron and cook. His transformation stunned me. Brielle had trained him well in just a few months, before he wouldn't enter the kitchen. Heating milk meant yelling for the house manager. I strode to the stove, plucked the tomato from his hand, and kept my tone cool. We have a house manager. If you want to see Leo, come on weekends. It's late. You should go. Lena, for Leo's sake, one more chance, just one. I untied the apron strings from his waist and shut the kitchen door. You're Leo's father, nothing changes that. Visiting him is your duty. But there is no us anymore. I don't eat leftovers and I never graze the same field twice. He grabbed my hand, desperate. Once, just once, break your rule for me. We had something. You said you loved me. Don't you remember? I yanked free. Honestly, I felt nothing. You said it yourself back then. True, I loved you then. The moment I did, you threw me away, so I got over you just as fast. And now? Right now, Julian's eyes reddened, voice trembling. You still love me. You're only mad hiding it, right? I pointed toward the balcony. See those roses? His gaze flicked to the massive 1,000-stem rose bouquet glowing in the dusk. My new boyfriend sent them. I said yes. We're together, so the only topic left is Leo. Don't cross the line, don't even think about it. Julian looked from me to the roses. You're giving my son a stepfather? I won't allow it. The words exploded from him, igniting my own fury. Did I ask your permission? I'm informing you, stay in your lane. Clear? He opened his mouth and muttered, does Leo get a say? We're dating, not marrying. Since when does a toddler vote? When you cheated, did you pull our child? His head dropped. Silence. Another weekend arrived. Julian didn't come. Sun blazed outside. I lounged on the sofa, relieved to stay in, clicking through TV channels while Leo built Lego trains with the house manager. Every station flashed breaking news in the same baritone. A major traffic accident in South Newside has left multiple casualties. Paramedics, police tape, Ellis, reporters ringed the wreckage on screen. Leo rolled over his finished train for praise. I kissed his cheek and shut the television. Amazing job, baby. Mom, it's Saturday. Why isn't Daddy here working overtime again? I opened my phone, ready to distract him with cartoons, but WhatsApp groups had already exploded about the crash. Word is the victim isn't Telecon's CEO. How do you know? The news didn't name anyone. I glanced at Leo, then asked the house manager to take him upstairs. An eyewitness ID'd him. A woman on a Harley died too, not just any woman, Julian's ex. Face unrecognizable, horrific, none of it made sense. Julian had driven that road for years. How did he total the car? And why was Brielle there, caught in the same crash? I dialed his number, cold automated voice. The subscriber cannot be reached. By nightfall, it was official. Julian was dead. I felt no surge of sorrow, only a jolt of finality. I had no idea how to tell Leo. Day 4, Eleanor, whom I hadn't spoken to in over a year, rang me hoarse from crying. Lena, Julian's gone. You saw the news, didn't you? Please bring Leo to the memorial service. He's Julian's son. I hesitated, then declined. Instead, after the service, I bought one bouquet, took Leo to the riverside grave, and let him trace the headshot with tiny fingers. Daddy, be good over there. I'll come after school with Mommy. Later I learned that Brielle had gone back to Dante. Dante died of a sudden heart attack, leaving her a fortune. She returned to South City, financially free, living the dream. That day she'd taken the Harley-Davidson out for a spin. Julian spotted her, gunned his engine in pursuit, lost control, and slammed into her. Brielle flew, landed, and was run over by a second car, dead on the spot. Julian hung on a few more minutes before the monitors flatlined. I deleted his number, bought a new phone, and turned the page. Thanks for listening. Rate today's story 1 to 10 if you liked it. Like and share. Tell us your thoughts below. Subscribe for more. See you next episode.